Welcome to the Life Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson. A couple of clean comedians here to support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. They'll talk about highs and lows and some traumatizing shows. So get ready, get set, let's go! All right, hi y'all. Welcome to the Life Support Podcast brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network. I am your host, June Colson, here with my fellow host, the amazing Michele VanDusen. I just love saying VanDusen. I feel like that's a great villain name. I use your name sometimes.
Wow.
I use your name as the villain. Okay, so
really?
in one of my jokes, or bits or whatever, those little jokes you do, June, those little jokes. So in one of my little jokes, I have a character and her name is Daisy Vanocker. Because one of the girls I cheered with, her last name was Vanocker. And the joke is not technically about her, right? But it's a rich sounding name. So I say little Daisy Vanocker. But when I'm locally and I do a show, I don't want to say Vanocker because I don't want people to think that because I cheered with this girl that I'm talking about this girl. Even though I swear to you, I told her one day. No. I told her one day, I was like, hey, I'm doing this bit and I just want you to know, I've been using your last name in it, but I don't do that locally. And she's like, oh girl, you can use my first name too. I don't care. So she's not offended by Daisy. It is not Daisy. No, her name is not Daisy. But, and her last name's not Vanocker anymore either because she's married, but it was Vanocker when we were in high school. So some people from high school come see the show. And so whenever I do that, and I know people that know me and know this particular girl, instead of saying that Daisy Vanocker, the cheerleader, I call her Daisy VanDusen. But if we are ever in a show together in my town, I don't know what I'll call her because I can't call her VanDusen because you're VanDusen. And I don't want to call her Vanocker, but it is a good villain name. I feel like VanDusen. The VanDusens. Right?
Vancouver. Yeah, well, I have a joke that I put your name in.
Did you? You did not.
I did.
It would be great. Really?
I did. I said, my friend June won't eat organic because she's afraid of catching a GMO.
Which is sad, but probably applicable. I'm like, oh crap, can I catch a GMO? What is that?
No, because a GMO, it's a genetic tweak. It's not, you can't catch it. It's not like, catching a lisp or something, right?
I feel like I have all kinds of genetic tweaks.
So I talk about that but how I just play along. I'm like, well, it'll be okay, June. If you do catch a GMO, we could just treat you with Roundup. Or free range penicillin.
Well, yay. You knew I told you I was using your name, but I don't think I knew that you used my name in a bit. That's pretty awesome.
And in fact, I think using your name helped me win the 2019 Oklahoma Southern Comedy Showdown. So thank you. Yeah. I'm the champion because I joked about you.
That might be what got me the Clean Comedy Challenge championship. Yeah. That could be.
You're welcome.
Nashville title is thanks to you. Get out of town. Okay, so on a previous episode,
on a previous episode
of the Life Support.
We were talking on a podcast?
So we what were we talking about before? We were talking about
being yourself on stage.
Yes, that's what it was. We were being yourself
on stage. Yeah.
And then we ran out of time before we could talk about the unsolicited advice. Okay.
Oh, before we get into that, though, I really actually need to know, is your son okay after getting hit with a boat anchor?
Oh, are you kidding me? Like he's as strong as an ox. He's a rock. That boy, he actually dented the boat anchor, really, Michele. The anchor just crumbled when it hit his bicep or tricep or pec or peck or. That's the southern.
You owe money to the swear jar now, Jude. That's $100 one right there. I cannot believe you just did that.
Oops.
You mean the
That's
muscle in his
Southern.
arm. The muscle in his arm. Okay.
O-R-or. Okay, what were we saying?
Boat oar.
Yes, he was fine, and we were talking
Okay,
about
good.
being yourself, and then we were gonna roll into some unsolicited advice, and we ran out of time.
Yes.
And decided that we would circle back in another episode. So here we are. And so the unsolicited advice, and it can come from different people, different places, right? Different things.
Yeah.
I, for one, I get unsolicited advice from my mother. One time I had my hair in a ponytail for 3 days in a row, and my mom said, "Honey, you might want to let your hair down on occasion. People think you've given up." So I didn't ask for that advice. Yeah,
that's
I didn't
really
ask for
good
that
advice, though.
But
People might think you've given up. I like that.
Sometimes you I'll ask someone for advice. I have been fortunate. God's placed a lot of amazing comedians in my life that have been doing comedy for a long time, and I can trust their opinion. But also at the same time, I think just because someone gives you advice doesn't mean you have to take it. Some of my best mentors are ones that will say, one of my mentors has said to me, "Well, why do you say it that way?" He doesn't tell me it's wrong that I say it in a certain way. He first will ask me why I say it the way I say it, so that he can try to be in the same kind of headspace, good luck with that, as me, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, because a lot of times we'll look at somebody else's stuff and we'll be applying our voice to it and not theirs, or we just see it from a different perspective. But just because someone gives you advice, and just because it's a veteran giving you advice, doesn't necessarily have to take it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you may have a gut instinct that says this is the direction I'm supposed to go, but it's foolish to not at least listen and look at that perspective. And, later on, it might be one of those, "Oh, I told you so" moments. Like, "I told you not to do that," or "I told," But other times I think too, there has to come a point where, you also pay attention to your specific instincts. Have you ever had somebody come up and like give you unsolicited advice, let's say that you didn't want and you didn't use, or unsolicited advice that you were like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I never thought about that. I'm glad they said something."
Yeah, I've had a couple. One, it's usually from my family. So my mom would always be like, "Well, that's funny, but this is how you should say it next time. So first you're going to open up saying da 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 da, and then you're going to say," and so she'll like lay out all these jokes for me, and I'm like, "Thanks, Mom, but that's not really my voice."
Right. Right.
Because I do come from a naturally very funny family.
Right.
A lot of dry humor, a lot of I don't want to say Jim Carrey, but like my cousin and my brother, they're very facial oriented and stuff.
Yes.
So like there's just we have a very funny family. But listening to my mom's advice, usually it's like, thank you, but no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, there was one time I was at the conference, and it was early on in my career, very early on, and two veterans. We were out in the lobby, and it was right before I was going to go on and do like the 2 or 3 minute feedback mic, where you get to go tell your new stuff and get some feedback. Apparently, that year. I didn't realize this, but everybody that was doing the feedback mic, they weren't doing like new material. They were doing stuff that they've been doing, and they just wanted feedback from these veterans.
Right. They want to look good. They want to look good in front of the veterans.
Yeah. I've never looked good the entire time I've been there, because I've never done tried and true material. I'm always doing new stuff. So I'm in the lobby and I'm just chatting, and I'm like, "Well, what about this?" And so these two guys, they're like, "Yes, that's hilarious. That's so funny. You got to go do that." Da, 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 da. I'm like, "Okay, I'll go do it." So I leave from the lobby all pumped up about how funny this is going to be.
Yes.
And I go in and I do my thing. And, Nazareth, Naz.
Yes, Naz. He's isn't he awesome?
Yes. His first comment, this is his feedback. Michele, never do that again. And I'm like, why? So I go back out to the lobby and I'm just crushed. I'm like, I forgot a really key part to the joke. And that's why it didn't work. Like
Right.
it would have worked and would have been funnier if I didn't forget a very, very important piece of the joke. But one of the things that Naz did say, though, even though this is unsolicited because I was looking for feedback, he simply, one of the things was that joke is not meant for mixed audiences. And he's right. Like, I could totally do that joke at a girls' night out or a mom's event, kind of a thing. But it was definitely not a mixed joke. But I realized details and remembering all the details of the joke are also super, super important. That's kind of why jokes sometimes fail. You leave part of it out.
The setup, but you just go straight to the punch, and they're like, "Wait, what? Where did that?"
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be funny, but we're not really sure why.
Because the punchline was, "Where'd all these cats come from?" Which is a funny punchline.
Yes.
But if you don't have a good setup to that, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Not good.
Anyway. Yeah. I did have another one.
Yes.
So I was working at the elementary school and I was meeting my new principal. And I don't know if I've told you this before. And she's a beautiful woman, beautiful Black woman. And when I meet somebody new, especially, since, she's higher up, she's the principal, I am the type of person that will ask a bunch of questions about you to get to know you, because I'm over here just teaching this computer class. It's no big deal, but I want to know more about you and, how can I make your job easier, that kind of stuff. So I'm asking questions. And somebody in the office already told her that I do comedy, right?
Right.
I didn't know that they told her that. So she's already thinking of a way to set me up because she wants to see, how funny, is this girl, and can she think on her feet? Like that was where her headspace was, or she was just messing with me. I don't know, but she starts talking about. She goes, "I have a BMW," and I'm like, "Okay," and immediately I'm thinking, all right, so here is the new principal. She's making a lot of money, and she has a nice fancy car. That's who rubs in how much money you're making.
Right. He just walks up and goes, "I have a Beamer."
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll ask questions about this car. So I started asking her all the car questions you could think of. Do you like how it handles, the curves? Do you like driving it? How often do you drive it? Just anything you could think of about a car. And then she goes, "Well, do you want to see it?" Okay, sure. Take me out to the parking lot. Let's go look at your BMW. Well,
so what were the children doing at this time? You're like, you know what? They're fine. They're on computers. They don't even know I'm in here. Let's go to the parking lot. Can we go to lunch? How about ice cream?
This was my lunch break, and
sure,
I happened to be in the office.
Yes.
I went to the office to go get my mail. Yeah, I went to go get my mail. So she goes, "Well, do you want to go see? You want to see my BMW?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'd love to see your BMW." Anyway, she goes, "There he is," and I'm like, "What?" In walks her husband. And she looks at me straight face. She goes, "BMW, Black man working." I'm like, "What?" And I have no idea what she's saying. She goes, "You can use that if you want." And I'm like,
"No, I can't.
No, I can't. I am so white. I am whiter than white. I burn the moment sun even like shines through my window. I cannot ever use that.
People want to give you stuff. They're generous. They want to give you stuff.
Yeah, and she's laughing and laughing and laughing. She thinks it's the hilarious thing. So for the next 5 years that I worked with her, she'd always say, "Hey, there's my BMW." I'm like, "Ha, okay." Like, and so she thought it was the best thing ever, and she did, because I asked her so many, like, technically it'd be intimate questions. I mean, in reality,
right? If you were actually asking about the man and not the car, how does he handle and how does he take?
Oh my gosh, the curves!
So
and like driving it and how long? Oh my gosh,
that's
how
awesome.
fast! I mean, there was just so many.
Well, see, I had someone not try to give me their joke, because that was kind of her joke that she was.
Yeah.
She thinks it's funny. She was trying to give me. I had someone just recently at a get together try to give me Minnie Pearl's joke. They said, "Come here, I want to tell you a story," and they tell me this story. And I'm, politely laughing. It was a cute story, right? And then he says, "Hey, you should use that one on your next little get together," because that's what comedy shows are, little get togethers. Yeah. You should use that on your next little get together. Yeah, I'll give that one to you. And I was like, I don't think you're allowed to give away Minnie Pearl's jokes. Like, that's not, but they were going to give it to me, and they gave me permission to use it on the next, that would go over really well, especially since I live not far from Nashville, Tennessee. No one would ever notice I'm doing Minnie Pearl's material.
Yeehaw! Do you have a tag? Because she always had a price tag in her hat.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
She always came with her own tag. What? Okay.
What? That's a comedian with her own tag. I see what you did there. Okay, speaking of her wardrobe. I use that. Thanks, Michele. Speaking of her wardrobe. All right, let's talk about wardrobe. All right. I don't do a whole lot of conversation about guy comedians versus girl comedians and but generally in life,
always wear a dress.
No. Yes, you should. Oh, if you can get something with ruffles, yes, yeah.
Oh my gosh, ruffles taste so good. I love, like, because they hold the most dip, the ruffled chips.
Okay, so I got made fun of by our friends Brian Kahatsu, Mike James, and Rhonda Corey for a shirt that I had bought that was blue and had hideous flowers and giant ruffles. And I forgot that we were going to Zoom chat, and I had just tried it on, and I'm getting the text from Rhonda saying, "Where are you at? What's going on?" Because she's that friend who, like, if you're not there, she's pretty sure you died in a plane crash. And I'm like, I'm running behind, right? I pop in, I got my ruffled shirt on. I'm like, "Hey guys, sorry. And they're like, "Are you churning butter? Like, what is this shirt that you're wearing?"
You shopped at Target.
Yes, I bought it for the colors. And I did get it at Target. And I was so proud of myself for buying this. It was over $27. I don't spend more than $20 on my pants and $10 to $15 on my shirt. And I had a $27 ruffled shirt. And I got it because, one, ruffles are in right now. And two, because it was royal blue and I was going to be on camera. Yeah. And three, because you can't try it on. They don't let you try it on at the store anymore. You just have to go, this might be cute on her. It might be awful. It was awful. It was horrible. It was terrible.
Did you really pay $27?
Would I really pay 27? I really did pay 27.
Wait, you really did? I thought at some point you were like, but I had a coupon.
No coupon. I splurged like big money on this ruffledy shirt. And then and they were just like, "Oh my God, like, we saved you. That would have been on camera. That would have been done." Like, I was a part of somebody's special. And, once I had tried it on, I realized this is not okay. I can't wear this shirt. Right? But I was fortunate to have friends who, it was going to be on television. I mean, it was going to be on a network thing.
And honest.
And so you need those honest friends who are like, "No, you can't wear that shirt." But the funniest thing, a couple of days ago, Mike James pulls up this picture and he was like, "I found a ruffled dress you'd like." And this is what made me think of it. He pulls it up and it's like a turquoise dress and it has ruffled potato chips. Like, that's the screen print that's on this dress. I want that ruffled dress. I might pay 20. No, you know what? I went back. I took the, this is what I was sad though, because I was trying to have sneaky money. because I thought, well, I'll take the shirt back.
What's sneaky money?
Sneaky money, like my husband had already seen that I'd spent the, $27 on my debit card or whatever to get this dress. And then I thought, ooh, well, I'll have that sneaky money because now I didn't need the shirt. I found something else that I was going to wear. And they would just give me cash back. And then I could go over to the dollar store and I could buy 3 shirts for the price of one.
And a bag of chips.
So I handed to them and they were like, okay, thanks so much. And I was like, wait, but where's my money? And they're like, oh, we just credited it back to your card. Well, I didn't give them.
No.
I gave them the receipt. I needed that sneaky money. Okay, so
I've never heard it called sneaky money, ever.
So women
sneaky money.
And their wardrobe on stage. Women and their wardrobe on stage. We don't get, like, I feel like every event that I do, I don't have a uniform. I don't have a costume. I don't have a specific style yet or a look, where it's like this one particular comedian that we're friends with, it's all about Adidas. Everything he wears, he's wearing something Adidas, right? There's another comedian that's kind of the skinny jean, Van tennis shoes, graphic t-shirt, There's another comedian that he just does like a plain button up, no tie, but always has a jacket on. Like he's, kind of the old school look. And I feel like every time I do a show, like the guys just kind of have their look. And I don't have a specific look. I did hear a woman say one time, and it got in my head. She was like, oh, these comedian girls, they think like a little bit of sequins on a shirt and some blue jeans and they're stage ready. They're dressy. They're fancy because they put on sequins. And I'm standing there with a sequins top, jeans and heels. And I'm like, oh, dang. This isn't it. We're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, but you had the heels on. So I think that was fine.
Yeah.
I think that brought you up a whole nother level.
But one piece of advice or one thing that I heard as far as, because we do shows in churches that I'd never thought about before was, I believe it was Kay Smith. And she talked about, flying across country to do some event. And she gets to this church, and it was a church where the women only wore skirts.
Yeah.
And
she didn't pack a skirt.
She didn't have a skirt. And she had to run to town and she bought a skirt or whatever. And she said, after a while, she was like, well, I'm just going to have a skirt with me no matter what. I'm just going to pack a skirt. Whenever I fly, I'm going to have this skirt. And I don't do that. But what I have done for churches, especially if I'm booked for a place that I don't know these folks. I don't, know how they, particularly what they're comfortable with. I'll just message and say, because I personally, that's not my belief system. I don't believe that, that women should only wear skirts and, certain things like that. However, that's not my house. I'm going in somebody else's house and they've invited me in and they're paying me to be there. And so I will in my email to them initially, I asked that question, is there a particular attire that your congregation is more comfortable with, or something to that nature, so that I know, like, if they're like, well, all the women in our church wear skirts, then I'll wear a skirt. That's fine. I don't mind to wear, but I wouldn't have known to even think about that had I not heard her story.
Yeah.
About she got to, and it was it was a really good paying gig and it was a contract deal. Even if she was like, refuse to wear a skirt. Well, whatever. But she's not that kind of person anyway. She's such a kind and accommodating person. But I had never thought about that when it comes to church shows to be, and I think in general, when I do a church show, not that I go around, first of all, I mean, we're not going to talk about the girls, but I don't have a whole lot to show off. There's not, I could try to be inappropriate, but I don't really, God didn't equip me to be super inappropriate. But when I do church shows or even clean comedy, I think it applies to my clothes too. Like if someone hires me to do a clean show, I'm not going to wear a graphic t-shirt that has cuss words on it or the middle finger or, and I'm not going to wear a high skirt or low cut something if I'm there to be a clean comedian, because for me, and it may not be for everybody, again, in this podcast, here's the deal, Pickles. We're not experts. This is how we see it. This is what we think about. But that's just I don't know. What do you think about it?
The one thing is, you should really always dress one level above your audience. Back in the day, if you looked at and watched the comedians, they always had a suit on. Or like Phyllis Diller, she always wore a dress. There was a style that they had, and it was always performing, and I'm going to look the best I can.
Right.
And somewhere along the line, our culture has changed, where now we expect the comedian to be in jeans, gym shoes, and a sweatshirt of some sort, and a ball cap. I mean, that's where it seems like most of the men comedians have taken it, and that the women are wearing jean jackets, or like everything seems to be like, now the audience, the comics are like dressing below their audience.
Yeah, sometimes
I think, yeah, and since we do churches, do you go on there looking like the youth leader, or do you want to look more like a pastor? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's such a difference in the culture right now. But for me, you don't want to dress where your clothing is distracting from the jokes.
Yeah, I heard somebody say that about like the graphic T-shirts, because comedians, it's like a big deal. They're like, if your T-shirt's funnier than you are, you might want to change your shirt.
Yeah,
that's hilarious, because people are staring at your shirt, they're reading your shirt, they're paying to the same way that you want to set up the environment. So that there's not distractions. You're doing yourself a disfavor. That's a great point. If you're wearing something that keeps people from being able to take you seriously.
If you don't have the jokes, well, then you do want to wear something distracting, so they at least have something to look at.
Right. And to talk about later. Like, she wasn't funny, but her outfit, listen.
Yeah.
I remember Colson. I remember Junebug. That girl looked like an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. And you definitely don't. Personally, as a woman, I find it kind of disheartening when I see young female comedians dress in a manner that they're looking to find a date, versus I'm performing a show, and like what kind of show are you performing? You know what I mean? Like dress up a little bit. So the low cut, it's why, you can't relax and do a lot of, I don't know. It's just,
you don't want to do an act out and have something pop out. Is that what you're saying?
There you
Michele?
go. Yeah. That's you don't want to have a Super Bowl moment.
Some people, maybe that's what they're going for, and then that's none of my business. But as far as I think for sure, clean comedy goes, because I'll have to think. I don't wear like a whole lot of low cut stuff, but I do have some stuff that like I lean over and I do some things, and before I leave, I will lean over and I will look and see like, how far does my shirt gap? Like, I don't want, I don't want that to be a distraction to the bit, because now, the dudes, it's just human nature. The guys in the front row or whatever, now that's what they've seen. They didn't even see what I was doing material wise. And the women, that's not going to make you real comfortable on a date if you're, your guy's sitting there looking at that. I think too, like I said, I check myself. I try to make sure, that my shirt's not gapped. But I also think wardrobe wise, good advice is checking your zipper.
Yes. Right? Oh yeah.
Always check. Forget about it. I mean, I have not been doing comedy very long, and I've seen way too many people with their zipper undone, because I'm the panic person. I panic pee. I gotta pee. I'm nervous. I gotta go. And I will pee, and then 2 seconds later I'll pee, and then there'll be like 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, one more time, I gotta go pee, even though I don't. It's just a mental thing, right?
Yeah.
But like, that's in my writer or whatever. I want to be close to a restroom. Don't make me run to the bathroom. But checking the boogers, checking your zipper, checking your shoes. I've got your ready makeup. To go out. Oh, your lipstick on your teeth. Yes. Mm-hmm. I have almost gone out with 2 different shoes. I have a picture of that Clean Comedy Challenge. I had a high heel and a flip flop on. And then the other day I left here getting ready to go to Nashville, and I had the exact same boots, but one was dark tan and one was light tan. And I was doing the stork stance, you know what I'm talking about? Where you lift one leg and you go, this shoe. And then you lift the other leg and go, maybe this shoe. Then I got a phone call and I got in the car and I got ready to leave. I had never picked the shoe. I was wearing the same shoes, just different colors. Think
just okay, but they were the same height though? Because just walking to the car, wouldn't you feel the difference?
No, they were the exact same shoe. So, I had a coupon at the shoe carnival, and it was buy one, get one half off plus a coupon. And I got a brown pair, a light brown pair, and a dark brown pair of the same boot.
That's fantastic.
And I had them both on, and I almost left with my two different shoes on. So,
okay, this just reminded me of a story. So, my friend Susan and I, when we traveled to Las Vegas, for some reason, her daughter wanted to help her pack. And so she let her. And Susan has ADD way worse than you do, like way worse. So, her daughter finishes packing for her, closes the suitcase. Susan never bothers to check it.
Right.
So we get there, and she's going to get dressed for the show. And she's like, I have no pants. I'm like, what? She's like, I have no pants in here. It was only tops and underwear and socks. There was not a pair of pants anywhere. And we had like 15 minutes. So we had to rush to the store so she could get a pair of slacks to put on, because she couldn't wear what she wore on the airplane. Because I think she either went in sweats or jeans, and so it wasn't going to go with what the show was. Yeah. So that's another tip. Don't let your children pack your suitcase.
Listen, no, I did my husband and I took our son and his girlfriend to Gatlinburg just recently, and he was getting ready, and he had his like suitcase on my bed, and he goes, Ashley, where am I? Whatever. And he's yelling at the girlfriend, where's this? Where's that? Because the girlfriend packed for him. And then he goes, gosh, I'm going to have to start packing for myself. And I'm like, you're 21. You should have, I didn't pack for you. What is happening? Pack your own clothes. Okay. So in closing, dudes, the only advice I have for dudes, here's two things I don't want to see. Okay. So for the women, I don't want to see you tatas. I don't, whatever. Dudes, I don't want to see you in flip-flops, hairy toes, untrimmed toenails, gross me out. And I don't want to see your kneecaps.
I don't want to see wrinkles.
Like the shorts. Wrinkles bug me. They do.
Yeah, like on your shirts and on your pants, it's fine. But your shirt should not be wrinkled. Yeah, and no shorts. Never wear shorts on stage.
Yeah.
I
can't do the kneecaps. One time I was at a show and a guy had like black pants on, and it looked like he had just gotten a boxing match with like powdered donuts. And I'm like, okay, it's either cocaine or donuts. But either way, like you have handprints all over your britches, where I just imagine him like in the green room, just killing some powdered donuts and wiping them on his pants and then going, okay, let's do this show. Like, what? No.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, Michele VanDusen, that is it for this episode. Folks, we're so glad that you hang out, you listen to us. If you want to connect with us, we'd love to have you join us on Facebook at Laugh Support, or on Instagram, or on YouTube. And Michele, if they want to email us important information, maybe some fashion advice, where can they email us at?
thelaughsup@gmail.com.
thelaughsup@gmail.com. I'm Jew Colson.
I'm Michele VanDusen.
Jesus and Jewbug loves you. And
thanks for listening to Laugh Support.
Little Michele and the Messiah tell you to take it higher. This has been
another episode
of
Laugh Support.
Laugh Support.